believe they'll be happy when XYZ is accomplished. And it sounds like you've sort of recognized that that is an issue, and you've made a conscious decision to accomplish the goals, but not be so tied to having your happiness be around the achievement of it.
Yeah, really, and this sort of gets to the core of philosophy, which has been around for, thousands of years. The thing is, if you think about it, happiness, I think, is really a balance between being mentally okay with where you are at any particular moment, as well as having goals, because and trying to pursue something and change your environment so that you like it. Because if you think about it, if happiness was only mental, then what would be the point of pursuing anything, right? If happiness was only a mental game, then you could be just as happy living in prison as you could be living on the beach in Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think happiness is completely a mental game. On the other hand, like you mentioned, if happiness is completely tied to goals and you're always setting the bar for yourself and trying to achieve that thing, then because you learn that happiness is tied to achieving goals, then you always have to be trying to achieve goals to achieve happiness. And so it's kind of a catch-22, or like a never-ending treadmill that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that you really have to do both. For me, lifestyle design and trying to pursue, living unconventionally is one half of the puzzle, and the other half is really, for me, it's become about Eastern philosophy and about learning how to be thankful for the things that I do have right now. So it's really a balance.
So living your life from a place of gratitude.
Exactly. Yep, that's right. And feeling a sense of abundance instead of scarcity as well, right?
Is that a struggle for you, or does that come naturally?
It's a struggle, I think, because I grew up in the U.S., and that's not the mindset that most of us have, right?
Right.
We've evolved into a society that's really about competitive consumerism, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and always trying to have more. And so from that aspect, it's a struggle because that's how I grew up. But over the past couple of years, since I've stepped away from the traditional corporate world, I've been able to recognize those things and have made progress for myself.
I recently, a couple of months ago, I was in Florence, Italy. We were shooting a video there, and I had one of our fixers take us around to one of the museums. And during some downtime, we were just, kind of shooting the shit, talking about life and stuff. And I said, so, what's the biggest difference for you from, the American that you take around and show them the city versus the average European? She said, I can tell you instantly. She said, when I ask an American, making small talk, what is it, that you're trying to do with your life, or, what are your goals? They'll always say something along the order of a big house, a big car, and $1 million in the bank. When I ask somebody who's from Europe the same question, it is invariably to have a wonderful life, to have a great family, to have great food, and it's always some kind of enjoyment. And you're right. I mean, we just look at things very, very differently here.
Right, exactly, and that's the and I hope that's what people are getting from lifestyle design, is that it's not about the traditional path that we've learned in the Western world, or in America, and that you can find happiness in other ways, and that it doesn't have to involve more cars and more stuff. And I think that's why minimalism has become such a popular topic recently as well.
Yeah, just by default, it had to.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about sabbaticals. I know that sabbaticals are important for you. In fact, I had to wait to do this interview because you're on a digital sabbatical. Could you describe for us why sabbaticals are so much a part of your lifestyle design?
Yeah. So sabbaticals to me come in a couple of forms, really, and it's just any time that you're taking a break from your normal routine. In some cases, a vacation could be a sabbatical, although I think traditionally it generally means something a little bit longer than that. The digital sabbatical I was referring to a few weeks ago was just the fact that I wanted to unplug from the internet completely. And so for a few days, I didn't touch the computer. I didn't log into the computer, use email, the internet, or anything. And I think that was a healthy exercise for me, just because I get a little bit too connected online and start really deriving my gratitude from, or my gratification from being on the computer. But in terms of longer, more traditional sabbaticals, I mentioned that I took one in Mexico. It was actually about a 7 month long trip. My wife and I packed up our car, including our dog, and set off on a road trip and drove all around Mexico, throughout the Western U.S. and up to Canada. And that sabbatical was really important for me because, as I mentioned, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what I wanted to pursue next. And I think it's important to step away from all of the normal influences, the influences of your friends, your family, your coworkers, society, television, what advertising and the media wants you to believe and to buy into, and step away from that so that you can clear your head and really see what might be important to you on a deeper level. And really getting away for a period of a month or two or something is the only way I can think to do that. You might be able to do it at home if you really unplug for a while, but on our sabbatical, it took me at least 4 to 6 weeks just to unwind and disconnect from all of that and start doing some real introspection that I hadn't really done before. And that's what led me to start, pursuing this journey that I'm on now, and to also looking for ways to be happy on a day-to-day basis.
Are you still splitting your time between Mexico and the U.S.?
Yeah, so generally right now, what we do is we live in San Francisco. That's sort of our permanent place. I call myself location flexible. I'm not entirely location independent because we do have a fixed address in San Francisco, and that kind of gives us the best of both worlds. It gives us an apartment to call our own, to return to on a regular basis. And then from there, each winter, we spend a period of time in Mexico from 3 to 6 months, basically. And there's a little town that we've come to enjoy that we return to, where we can do surfing. We have an internet connection there so that I'm able to get some work done. But that allows us to, enjoy the sun and live a different pace of lifestyle down there where people aren't focused on the same things, and to explore a different culture. So we really like doing both.
Is it expensive where you are in Mexico? Because I know, the closer you get to, let's say, San Diego, the higher the price of real estate is, or the cost of living, et cetera. Or is it where you are, is it inexpensive?
It's really inexpensive. We're on the beach, so it's there's some price built into the beach, but there are a lot of little towns on the beach once you get outside of the tourist areas. So as long as you avoid Cabo or Ensenada or Puerto Vallarta or something like that, then you can find pretty inexpensive places to live. And we're actually able to live on between a third and maybe a half of what it costs us to live in the U.S. when we're in Mexico. So we're actually saving money when we do that.
All right, so speaking of money, the biggest question that everybody has at this point is, how do I create the income to pay for the kind of lifestyle that you're living? And we're going to cover exactly how Corbett does it in the second half of our interview for our Jet Set Money members. If you aren't a Jet Set Money member and you want to be, just go to getjetsetmoney.com. Corbett, before we head over to the members area, if people want to get a hold of you, how can they do it?
So the easiest way is probably through one of my blogs. I run 2 blogs. The first one you mentioned is freepursuits.com, and that's all about working for yourself and living the life you want. And the second one, which is maybe a little bit more advanced, it's for people that already have a website or something. That blog is called thinktraffic.net, and that's all about how to build a high-traffic website or blog. And there's contact information for me on either of those sites.
Corbett, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it for this episode of the Lifestyle Design Confessions podcast. Remember, if you want to get a jump start on creating the income to live your jet set life using our proven system, you can claim your risk-free trial membership to Jet Set Money by going to getjetsetmoney.com. And remember, excuses are over. It's time to live.